Stony Lonesome is saying, on a broader scale, societal level, as opposed to the individual level, what steps should our Western Anglosphere societies take to fix the incel crisis? The incel crisis. So this is the thing that, do you guys, Armin, you're familiar with the whole incel thing? You know what that is?
What do you think, Ali? Of course. Like, who doesn't know this?
There's a lot of people who don't.
Didn't they have their own? They actually had their own radical terrorist person.
The guy who drove a truck in my city here in Toronto. The guy
drove in Toronto,
into a crowd and killed 10 people.
In my country. How do you think I don't know about this?
But yeah, it's your country. Yeah, I know. So I mean, you don't live in Toronto. I live in Toronto, right? So that's the thing. We have the same country, but not the same city. But the point is, so the incel crisis. This is a question. So I think what's happening is that, from what I understand, the incels are involuntary celibates. These are people who don't want to be celibate, but they are through no choice of their own, and they feel like they are being robbed of something. So they are advocate, as far as I understand, for a redistribution of sex as a resource. So they feel like there are a few high-powered men or super attractive men like you and me, Armin, who tend to get the most attention from women, right? And so you have a large amount of women. Women are more selective in their mates than men are. So men will basically go with anything, and women are generally more selective. So they select, there's a small group of men and a large group of women, and that's what's happening. And so there's a large group of men that gets completely neglected because they are, so they feel like they're entitled to, they're like the sort of, I guess, would you call them sexual socialists? They feel like they're entitled and there should be a distribution. Everybody should have an equal distribution of sex as a resource, and they don't get it and they're upset about it. So they're willing to go out and kill for it. And
not all of them.
Not all of them. Some of them are just willing to just write really mean things on the internet about it. But so, but what do you do to fix the incel crisis? How would you solve this, Armin? It's a good question.
You can't. This is only going to become a growing problem. It's kind of, I don't have a solution. It's very interesting because a lot of these people are finding Islam appealing, given that in Islam, everybody, women are put in their place and are forced to basically give men sexual pleasure. Some of them are like, some of them are saying like, oh wow, Islam seem to have gotten this correct, which is very interesting because people like Daniel Hayraju are now using this kind of community to sell them Islam to, right? They're saying like, hey, do you want to get your dick wet? Like, try Islam. No, like seriously, this is like a marketing tactic for Islam, for people who are, advocating, why Islam is better. Another interesting thing is that so Islamic, apologists are using the incel community, but some left-leaning people are also using the incel community to make their point when it comes to privileges, right? Because a lot of people from the incel community are anti, social, justice warriors or anti-woke and stuff like that. So some of these people who are on the left are trying to show them how introduce the incel community to the concept of privilege with a privilege that they themselves understand, which is chat privilege, right? They're like, listen, they tell incel people, like, we know how I'm much annoyed, because the incel community, they get very annoyed when somebody that might be like better looking comes and tells them like, listen, it's easy, just talk to women and just tell them this and that and be confident and maybe exercise a little bit and it will be so much, you do these things and
I get it.
Things will
it's
get better
for you to say you have like an 8-inch dick, right? Like that kind of thing.
No, like you're making this more simplistic than what it is. Okay, so but they're saying like this person is not aware of his privileges. He doesn't understand that it's not that easy. Like, we don't have the privileges that this person has, and just because they're seeing results with the things that they're doing, they think like everybody else could get the same benefit, and they're so blind to the fact that it's not that easy for the rest of us, right? So the leftist community is trying to tell the incel community that, look, you see how some people who have privileges, they're they just take advantage of it, and it's just such a thing in the background. They're not even like a fish in the water that is not aware of the water. These people are not aware of the privileges that they're enjoying. This is what it is. This is what male privilege looks like. This is what white privilege looks like. This is what that privilege looks like. So that they're using chat privilege as a way to convince these people that there are other forms of privilege that people who are enjoying it are not aware of it.
But I want to ask you something about this, Armin. So, like, why don't they target, the men that are getting all of this, whatever? Why aren't they target? Because that's a smaller group of men, right? These supposedly privileged. I'm not going to say good looking, because there's a lot of good looking incels and there's a lot of not very good looking people who are able to.
It's not just looks, Ali. It's also
attraction,
like,
right? It's a way to.
Like some people in the incel community, they're decent looking, but they are socially awkward.
Or they're poor. They don't have any,
Yeah, it's mostly. It's mostly about either not having the right looks or having anxiety or being socially awkward or stuff like that. That's stuff that you have to deal with, and you just can't. And people are like, "Oh, just be confident." And I'm like, "Well, I can't." Like some people are like, "Well, I can't." And and they get so frustrated when somebody comes and gives them that advice of, "Oh, just do this and this and that," and making it seem like, oh, so what the leftists, when the leftists talk to incels, they're like, look, when right-leaning people just tell people, just stop being poor, just do this and this and this, and you will stop being poor. This is what sounds like to people. This is how frustrating leftists will get with right-leaning people when they tell them like, oh, just stop being poor. If you do this, you will take responsibility for yourself. That's how annoying it is for incels when other people like, oh, just do this and this and this, and oh, just take care of yourself, just go to the gym and eat right, and then talk to people, and you will become more confident, and all of a sudden women will talk to you. So they're saying it's very similar to, a lot of, again, this is why I think like we shouldn't dismiss all, like when we talk about incels, a lot of people look at them with dismissive, and they and I think it's not fair to them. Like a lot of them do have fair points. Like they are living miserable, lonely lives, and a lot of them don't have a way out of it. Like I think we should look at these people with a little bit more sympathy than just looking at all of them with radicals or women abusers.
I don't necessarily think that they have fair points. Nothing I've read really comes across, but I think that the whole problem itself, like what Stoney is saying here about the incel crisis, the fact that it's a crisis, I think this is a crisis. You're seeing it already on these. I was reading about this with dating apps. It's the same kind of thing, that you have a small group of men who just have an immense amount of choice when it comes to the women. So that's why you have this whole phenomenon of ghosting, that they just they have so many options. Just go out with somebody, they ghost them. And then you have all of these women who are looking for something serious and they can't really find it. And the majority of men who are not very attractive don't really get anywhere. So you're seeing this play out in the sort of digital and virtual realm as well. So it is it's a problem. I don't know how it's gonna turn out. Like I feel like, I'm not sure exactly how it's gonna manifest.
I don't know what the solution is. I just know. I guess like if the question is how do we fix it, I don't have an answer. But I do think these people should not be. I think some sympathy and understand. Like this is, guys, like not getting sex is more than just like your lust desires not being satisfied. It's also a social need. You know what I mean? These people are lonely. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not saying that they deserve, like they are owed somebody, right? But I'm not saying we should like, it's a right for them to get laid, and we have a responsibility to make sure that they get laid. I'm not saying that. Like that's people are like, oh, it's their fault. Like, what do you think, Armin? Like they're lonely, poor them. What do you think we should like? No, I'm not suggesting anything. I'm not suggesting that, like, I don't know, like Jordan Peterson was suggesting like maybe a government mandated,
enforced monogamy.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
for
that was kind of
forced monopoly.
misrepresented.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, yeah, I don't know actually, but I'm not suggesting anything resembling that. I'm just saying, like, don't dismiss their misery. You know what I mean? Loneliness, is this. We are social animals, right? And some humans are incapable of finding companion, and that pain, the pain that you experience for being so alone and nobody finding you either emotionally or physically attractive, the pain from that is worse than physical torture. Like we have studies on this. This people commit. There's more likely for people to commit suicide because of this than any physical pain. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying
Yeah,
people don't commit suicide. I'm not saying people don't commit suicide from physical pain, but this pain, this emotional pain, is more intense than
yeah.
what people actually consider physical torture. But go on.
You're absolutely. So the thing is, like, I find myself, like, I'm in my mid 40s and I've been like single now for a little over a year. And everything I see is very drastically different. And you're right. This thing, there's a lot of loneliness out there. There's a lot of people feeling alienated, a lot of isolation, and you see it all around. And it's a terrible thing to see. And I'm not sure. Like, sometimes it's not even a matter of physically being alone, right? I think it was Robin. I don't know if it was Robin Williams or someone who said that the only thing worse than being alone is ending up with somebody who makes you feel alone, right? I mean, there's people who, the loneliness and the isolation is really a big problem. I think that's the bottom line here, Stoney. I mean, I think Armin's right. Like, people are social animals. They're looking for some kind of connection. This is a matter of how they feel about themselves, and a lot of things, including, like, what they say, like, if you've seen The Social Dilemma, like all of these, Instagram and all these social media things, like, they have also kind of worsened the condition in a way that they give a very inflated or sort of exaggerated view of what people's lives are like, and they're not, and I think that makes people feel even worse about themselves and their own lives. So I think there are a lot of aspects to this. But one thing I'll say in terms of a solution, I don't have a solution either, like Armin doesn't, but they need to teach this. I mean, if this is an epidemic, if there's a loneliness epidemic, if there's a mental health epidemic that's happening, in which I think it is, they need to teach this stuff in schools. Like, they have health class in schools. They need to teach, like, how to interact, like, not be socially awkward, how to manage your anxiety, how to socialize and communicate with people. Like, this is something we should be prioritizing in school. There's so much stuff they teach in schools now that you can just get for free on the internet. You can just learn from YouTube, and a lot of kids do. But what's really important, the two things that they don't teach in schools, like, one is how to have relationships and act and conduct yourself socially, and the second thing is taxes. I can't believe they don't teach you about taxes in school. These are the two things, like, I think it's really, really important for kids to start learning about at an early age, and it's going to become more and more important as we go on.
Hey guys, if you want to join these streams live, get your comments and questions read by Ali and Armin and the guests, and most importantly, to get full access to the full video versions of all these episodes, become a patron. Link in the description below.